a bill that honestly the president didn't campaign on, Jim Jordan and I didn't campaign on, and I'm pleased to hear that the White House has offered a veto threat. If that happens, bravo! I applaud the president for doing that. But I can tell you that we need to put forth the bill out of the House with that and if we do that, I think that we'll get
Okay, what about there are a lot of people. We always get the spending increase, and we never get the spending cuts. That's always 10 years down the line, and it never happens. You always get the amnesty going back to 86, 96, 2006. You always get some type of concession for people that didn't respect our laws and sovereignty, but you never end up getting the walls built and the border secure. How do we ensure that, regardless of how this all turns out, that wall gets built? I think, number one, it's good for the country, and it makes sense for the country. And number two, it's good politically. The first time we had done what we said we were going to do.
Yeah, Sean, you're exactly right. The American people are not going to tolerate that once again. They won't buy that whole line. Oh, we'll do the amnesty now, but we promise we'll eventually get to border security. It's not going to fly. And the person they trust on this issue is the President of the United States. So that's good legislation, Sean, because it does it in the prioritizing way that the American people know it has to get done, and the way you've talked about it getting done, which is border security wall first, end chain migration, get rid of this crazy sanctuary cities policy, deal with case laws, get rid of the visa lottery. All this that legislation has like 22 different key policy areas. The first 21 are everything that is common sense and the American people spoke loudly and clearly about. And then the last one says, and oh, by the way, we're also going to address the DACA situation. That's done in a prioritizing fashion and manner that is consistent with what we were elected to do. So that's why Mark and I, for the last several weeks, we've been pushing the Goodbye legislation. We tried to ramp up to talk about that, because that's the one that we need to get done. And as Mark said,
where is the leadership on this one? Where is Paul Ryan?
They finally whipped it. But let's hope they put the full strength of the leadership behind the whip and start persuading people this is the right thing to put down first, because it's consistent with the American people to believe.
Why would you let Susan Collins and a bill with Senator Flake go through with only Democrats and say somehow this is what we're going to pass on? Their plan is, okay, they're going to pass DACA, they're going to provide $25 billion, they say, for border security, but we'll only give you $2.5 billion. This is over 10 years. That sounds to me like John McCain's proposal. Let's study it in the year 2020. Well, that's just a way of punching the road like they always do. It's the same old rocky and swamp.
Well, it is the same old swamp, and if you want to make sure that the Republican Party is in the minority come this November in the House, and that we lose seats in the Senate, let's just continue down that road. Jim Jordan says it best. He says it never hurts to do what you promised the American people you would do. We said that we were going to be tough immigration, making sure that we have a secure border, making sure sanctuary cities and the like are dealt with. And if we don't do that, people are going to either show up or not show up in November, but it will not be good news for anybody in our party. And so that's why we've got to address it and make sure that we actually build a law, that we don't talk about it, that we actually make sure that we address this and don't provide amnesty without fixing the root cause of the problem.
I'm looking at, and this was an article on one of the blogs I saw earlier today, that if you look at the latest numbers, that Republicans are doing a lot better generically on the ballot, and the president's doing very well in a number of parts, better than he has done. And I would attribute a lot of it to the economic fallout now that people are seeing their taxes cut fairly significantly on a weekly basis starting in February. I think they're beginning to get the message that, oh, wait a minute, I think I've been paying way too much in taxes. This is one of the main reasons he won the election.
Yeah.
So why isn't the Republican leadership in both the House and Senate embracing it?
You're so right on the numbers, though, because tax bill is something we said we would do, and we did it, and people are feeling the impact of that right now. The president said he's going to put Neil Gorsuch on the court, and he did it. The president is backpedaling, and they're doing it. The president in Jerusalem, and he's doing it. So when the president, that's what the American people love about this president, is he does what he says. When it comes to immigration, and And if we can just help the president do what he said he was going to do, well, this number is going higher. How many people, when you talk to when Nikki Haley said, if you don't start working with us at the United Nations, we're going to remember that. The American people love that because it's the respect and focus that there should be at places like that. So that's what the if we can get that will be so good for his approval rating, but more importantly, good for the country.
Most of you have been following these stories involving the abuse of FISA, and we have new information because this was put up by the Daily Caller that Bruce Orr actually hid his wife's Fusion GPS payments. His wife Nellie actually did some of the op research for the phony, fake Russian dossier that Hillary bought and paid for, and that in and of itself, that omission can be a crime. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Sean, you've been covering this when no one else would cover it, and everybody was criticizing you for bringing this to the attention of the American voter, and yet now you've been vindicated. Here you are, Bruce Orr, who actually worked for the Department of Justice. His wife was employed by the very group that was doing the opposition research, and yet they didn't disclose that. Not only did they not disclose it to the FISA court, but now we're finding out that they didn't disclose it in terms of ethics form. There's collusion going on, and that collusion is not between the president and the Russians. It's between the Democrat Party, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and really the heart of each party trying to influence an election.
Got to take a break. More with Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows on the other side of this. I want to remind you, one of the biggest things and best things you can do if you refinance your loan with trysofi.com and go to their website, on average, you're going to save over $22,000 over the course of your loan. Now, that's money for a new car. That's money for a down payment for a house. Now, you can lower your student loan interest rate, but that's also only the beginning of all the services that trysofi.com offers, financial services, products that they have. They have their personal loans, their refinancing, their financial advice, their investing. So there's all the exclusive benefits that you get, and you're going to save money if you have a student loan, if you refinance with trysofi.com. They also have things like career counseling, social networking, unemployment protection. God forbid you lose your job and you have the loan and you have to pay it, they're going to help you. And they reward your good credit, your income, and they offer the lowest possible rates. This whole application is done online in just a couple of minutes, and see how much you can save now. If you or somebody you know has a student loan, refinance it at trysofi.com. Try SoFi.com. Quick break, right back. We'll continue.
Next, our final roundup and information overload hour.
Breaking news, always on demand at 1360 KIGX.com.
Copy dispatch. 1549.
So far, not this show, and I checked all the way down to Winnebago, not this show, and you can't put anybody else. Be out here just a couple of minutes. Do we have any outstanding work in Bravo? ISD right now?
I'm Jay Farner from Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.375%, APR 4.62%. But choosing the right mortgage lender means choosing more than just a rate. Does calling a company with 12 JD Power Awards for client service matter? Does calling a company that invented Rocket Mortgage, the industry's most innovative technology, matter? If working with America's #1 online lender matters to you, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Do you have property damage to your home, auto, or business from Harvey? Enroll in the Harvey Federal Tax Refund Program now and get cash for flood recovery. Tax expert Pat O'Connor says if your property flooded and you paid income taxes in 2016, you almost certainly qualify for the Harvey Tax Refund. Don't wait. Call now. 833-AID-4-HARVEY. That's 833-AID, the number 4-HARVEY. Or online at aid4harvey.com. That's aid, the number 4-HARVEY.com.
Ice Joe Pags Huddle for finding out more about the disgusting human being that committed those murders yesterday in South Florida. The president has spoken out about it, and the unreasonable left is trying to take advantage of it, and more on the Joe Pags Show.
For the millions living with COPD, breathing becomes a real struggle. COPD stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, but you may have heard of it as chronic bronchitis or emphysema. Over time, it makes it harder and harder to breathe until you feel like you're breathing through a straw. COPD is the fourth leading cause of death in the U.S. It kills one person every 4 minutes, and it took my grandmother. An estimated 24 million Americans are affected, but as many as half of them don't even know. It's a race against time to spread the word about this serious disease. If you're over 35 and have ever smoked, you could be at risk. The good news is, there are steps you can take to improve your symptoms. I'm Danica Patrick, and I drive for COPD. Take action today, or breathe better tomorrow. Join me at Drive for COPD and take our questionnaire today and talk to your doctor.
Okay, cool, Captain. I'll call you right now.
Driving safely requires your full attention, eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and your mind on driving. However, even drivers who are paying full attention can wind up in a deadly crash, sometimes by simply trying to prevent one. Here's TxDOT's John Barton.
Crashes can happen when the driver veers off the road to prevent an oncoming collision, or runs off the road due to distraction, and then overcorrects to get back on the road. Overcorrecting occurs when you turn your vehicle sharply in the opposite direction that it's heading. It's a common mistake and can cause you to lose control, roll over, or hit another vehicle. Instead of allowing panic to cause you to overcorrect, gradually reduce your speed and keep a firm grip on the steering wheel. And never slam on your brakes.
Overcorrecting can happen anywhere, but it's most common on narrow two-lane roads where there's no wide shoulder to accommodate a vehicle. The key is to remain calm, regain control of the vehicle, and gradually ease back onto the road. Be safe, drive smart, and avoid overcorrecting.
The American Legion. We're a powerful force for the nation. We pledge ourselves to our veterans, our youth, a strong national defense, and Americanism. These four pillars shape our work and what we do for America. We work relentlessly within our four pillars of service, and we succeed. As the largest veterans organization in the nation, we have members and power to influence our leaders in Washington, D.C. to enact laws that make sense for America, and to make sure our veterans receive the care and benefits they earn and have been promised. And we have over 14,000 American Legion posts, sponsoring youth programs and promoting patriotism and American values all across this great country. We're proud of our service to our country in uniform during times of war, and we're honored to continue to serve through our membership in the American Legion. Go to Legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
I'm Jason Flom, founding board member of the Nueces Project, and my new podcast is Wrongful Conviction, available on iHeartRadio. On Wrongful Conviction, I interview a different exoneree every week and help them to tell their incredible stories of tragedy and triumph against impossible odds. You've got to hear it to believe it. Wrongful Conviction from iHeart Studios, available now on iHeartRadio.
Give me 80 part of that call over on North Beach.
Right, as we continue with Freedom Caucus members, their chairman is Mark Meadows. He's from North Carolina, former chairman. He got dismissed from the job. He was actually laid out and fired. Jim Jordan of Ohio. Do you guys have term limits on this? How did that work out? Was there
both of us are.
Was there a coup somewhere in there? Mark Meadows check it out as his wrestling buddy Jim Jordan. I don't know what happened.
And listen, I would end up pinned on every single time going up against the gentleman from.
No, he's tough. Good thing that I know martial arts. I could hurt him. But besides that, look, we had this terrible school shooting, another tragedy. We've had a lot of them. And I'm watching, and I get a headache watching the same predictable arguments and discussions going on. I'm not interested in these predictable talking points anymore. And today, I think there's an answer, and that is every single school in the country should have a comprehensive security assessment. After that assessment, a plan has got to be organized. And that means securing the perimeter of these schools. That would mean hiring former military, retired police. Yeah, they're going to be armed. Yes, it can be concealed. But there is a way to safen the environment in these schools and prevent some of these tragedies and at least minimize them if, God forbid, they break out. Agree or disagree, Congressman Jordan?
Yeah, I think you're right, Sean. You know, there's so many churches now are doing the same thing. They have a plan in place, and they have some of their parishioners who have their concealed carry license are actually coming to church with their armed, but obviously concealed, as a way to hopefully, if something terrible like this ever happens at those locations, they're better equipped to deal with it. I think you're right. We may have to check this out and figure out the safest possible way to deal with evil when it raises its ugly head, like we saw again yesterday in Florida.
Yeah, Congressman Meadows?
Yeah, I think the other interesting aspect is when we look and we talk to law enforcement officers, they understand how to secure our schools, and basically it's a resource issue. School resource officers, metal detectors and the like. Obviously, we want to make sure that anybody who goes to school can do so in a safe environment. And so I think that you'll see additional legislation coming from this administration that says, let's make sure that we have enough resources to protect those students that go. To default to the normal talking points on both the Democrat and Republican side of things is not appropriate. But I agree with you. Let's do a real assessment, Sean, and make sure that we can provide a safe environment for our students.
Now, one of the things that everybody said, well, we can't afford this, I said we can't afford not to at this point. And I really believe that people have served their whole lives and they're in retirement, and I know I have friends of mine that have retired 5 weeks later. I'm so bored, I can't take it anymore. And people that have served their whole life would probably look at it as an opportunity and a challenge, and they'd have a desire, they'd feel an important role that they're playing in keeping the local school system safe. I guarantee you they'd be lining up to do these jobs.
I think they would be lining up to do the jobs, but I think the other part of that is, we just passed a budget that Jim and I were just very troubled by the numbers, but we did $131 billion. That's billion with a B. Why not take a lion's share of that money and let's start looking at our school resource officers? If we're going to do something, instead of going the size of government here in Washington, D.C., let's look at reallocating some of those dollars and making sure it goes back to our states and local counties to provide additional resources for those schools. Let's make sure that there's some kind of return.
Yeah, I got to let you both go. I'm not cutting you short here. Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows, two of the people that really are fighting for the conservative values in this country. If not for the Freedom Caucus, it would be 1,000 times worse than it is for the country and the president right now. Thank you both for what you do. We appreciate it. 800-941-SEAN is our toll-free telephone number. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and continue.
Are your medical bills piling up due to cancer or another serious illness? You are not alone. Many people face this challenge. Here's how Coventry Direct can help. You can receive an immediate cash payment by selling your life insurance policy. If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may be eligible to sell your policy, even a term policy. To find out if you qualify, call Coventry Direct today at 1-800-510-2800 to speak to one of our policy specialists. 1-800-510-2800. The cash you receive from selling your policy can be used to help pay medical bills or whatever you choose to give you financial security and peace of mind. Call Coventry Direct at 1-800-510-2800 or visit us at coventrydirect.com. Coventry Direct, giving you the cash you need when you need it most. Coventry Direct is a marketing company and will refer qualified policy.
For people with Alzheimer's disease or dementia, the loss of driving could signal a loss of independence, but the risks associated with driving should not be ignored. The American Academy of Neurology has issued a new guideline to help determine when people with Alzheimer's or dementia should stop driving. The guideline advises caregivers to watch for warning signs, which include crashes, traffic tickets, avoiding driving at night or in rain, and an aggressive or impulsive personality. While these examples may help assess whether a loved one with even mild dementia is unable to drive, a doctor should be consulted. Caregivers should also be aware of their state's driving laws. To learn more about driving risks with dementia or to find a neurologist near you, Visit the American Academy of Neurology's website for patients and caregivers at AAN.com. That's AAN.com.
Recycling old rechargeable batteries from cordless electronics is a great way to do something good for the environment. Go to calltorecycle.org to learn where you can recycle your old rechargeable batteries. If it's rechargeable, it's recyclable. A public service message of this station and calltorecycle.org.
Current.
322 Greg Johnson.
News Radio 1360 KKTX. Live from New York.
I've been locked out of my web EOC account. Do you know anything about that?
19-year-old accused of killing 17 people in a shooting rampage at a Florida high school tells police
12-9.
he did it. Fox's Evan Brown live in Broward County, Florida with the latest.
Now, Roger, we're getting to read the police affidavit, and the investigators say that suspect Nicholas Cruz, after being read his Miranda rights, admits to being the gunman in yesterday's attack at Stone's He said he entered the school with his AR-15 semi-automatic rifle and loaded extra magazines. He says he began shooting in the hallways upon seeing students, but he also says he changed his plan, ditching the firearm and the extra ammo and fleeing in the sea of escaping teenagers. Officers would later recover that firearm and that ammunition, consistent with how Cruz tells them he discarded them. Roger?
Evan Brown, thank you. The FBI today acknowledging getting a tip that someone named Nicholas Cruz posted a chilling comment on YouTube last year.
Comment simply said, I'm going to be a professional school teacher. No other information was included with that comment?
The FBI's Rob Lasky. President Trump offering his condolences today for the victims of yesterday's shooting. Fox's John Decker live at the White House. John?
Trump said no child or teacher should ever be in danger in an American school, and he tried to comfort a community still in shock from the deadly mass shooting.
In times of tragedy, the bonds that sustain us are those of family, faith, community, and country. These bonds are stronger than the forces of hatred and evil.
The president has canceled a planned trip to Orlando tomorrow and a campaign rally next week in Pennsylvania. He says that he will soon visit Parkland, Florida to meet with families and local officials. Roger?
You're on the Fox Report.
Black shirt by the car wash. 10-4. Substitute 88 10-4. Yeah, look at the police car.
Checking out the movies this weekend?
Here's your box office preview. New this weekend is Black Panther, the 18th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Following the character's appearance in 2016's Captain America Civil War, he returns home only to have the kingdom threatened by enemy forces. Black Panther then teams up with the CIA and members of an all-female militia to save his home and the lives of those he holds dear. This superhero action film stars Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, and Martin Freeman. From the creators of the Wallace and Gromit shorts comes the stop-motion animated comedy adventure Early Man. During the Stone Age, a group of early humans face a powerful external threat, and one brave caveman rallies his community to fight back and save themselves and their community. Eddie Redmayne, Tom Hiddleston, Maisie Williams, Timothy Spall, and many more lend their voices. Still in theaters are 50 Shades Freed, Peter Rabbit, From 15 and 17 to Paris, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and The Greatest Showman. Plus Maze Runner, The Death Tour, Winchester, The Post, Hostiles, and The Shape of Water. And that's your weekend box office preview on iHeartRadio. And now a look back at This Week in History.
This week in 1950, Disney's Cinderella opens in theaters across the U.S. The film took 6 years to make and was one of the highest-grossing films in 1950. This week in 1959, Fidel Castro is sworn in as Prime Minister of Cuba. The United States initially recognized the new Cuban dictator, but withdrew its support after Castro launched a program of agrarian reform, nationalized U.S. assets on the island, and declared a Marxist government. Castro died November 25, 2016, at 90 years old. This week in 1972, the Volkswagen Beetle overtakes the Ford Model T as the world's best-selling car as the 15,007,034th Beetle rolled off the assembly line. The Model T was in production from 1908 to 1927. And this week in 1999, President Bill Clinton was acquitted on both articles of impeachment, perjury and obstruction of justice. On January 7, 1999, in a congressional procedure not seen since the 1868 impeachment trial of President Andrew Johnson, the trial of President Clinton got underway in the Senate as instructed in Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. The Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, William Rehnquist,
at the time was sworn in to preside, and the senators were sworn in as jurors.
That's your look back at This Week in History.
Experts at the American Academy of Sleep Medicine say 1 in 5 adults doesn't get enough sleep. The result is serious. Drowsy drivers take the blame for an estimated 100,000 crashes in the U.S. every year. If you're sleeping less than 8 hours a night, you're twice as likely to be involved in a drowsy driving crash. Here's TechStop's John Barton with more.
A sleep-deprived driver has reactions similar to someone who is driving drunk. Judgment is impaired, vision is affected, and reaction times are slower.
Are you able to go to the major on Burton Holly?
On a road trip, plan on stopping at least every 2 hours 100 miles. Get out of the car, stretch, and walk around. If you're driving with a friend, take turns driving and switch it up every 100 miles. And when you're feeling especially tired, pull over to a safe place like one of TxDOT's safety rest areas and take a 15 to 20 minute nap.
The National Sleep Foundation also recommends caffeine and says 2 cups of coffee can increase alertness for several hours. Be safe, drive smart, and stay alert.
Just one more lap. Wait a second. Why is he pulling into the pit? Tom, what the? Just remembered, it's my 18th birthday. I gotta register with Selective Service. Get me the Wi-Fi laptop. But look, registration's important to our country and to me. I can't even renew my driver's license most places unless I'm registered. Tom, and by the time you I'm already done. Guys, register with Selective Service online at sss.gov or at the post office. It's the law.
Sean Hannity is on News Radio 1360 KKTX.
Station 115th Street, Wildcat Donuts, and requesting medics for a male from RP advised that he was arguing with his mom and she ran over his foot.
In these moments of heartache and darkness, we hold on to God's word in Scripture. I have heard your prayer and seen your tears. I will heal you. We trust in that promise, and we hold fast to our fellow Americans in their time of sorrow.
Holding them accountable. Sean, no one else does. Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution. This is how we roll. You guys coming to Burton Holly? New Sean. Breaking news. Bold, inspired solutions. Stay right here for our final news roundup and information overload.
All right, News Roundup, Information Overload Hour, Sean Hannity Show, 809.1. Sean, I want to play, this is from the Sun, from earlier today. This is the guy that said he alerted the FBI to this YouTube comment about this shooter, Nicholas Cruz, that, you know, he wanted to be known as a professional school shooter. That was literally posted on YouTube. He told the FBI came to visit him the day after he alerted the FBI about all this. And then we're going to play the FBI agent saying in 2017, yeah, they had information about this comment. Listen to this.
September 24th, 2017, I sent a screenshot of a comment on one of my videos. Now, people keep asking me which video was it, but I don't know. I don't remember what video it was. When I saw the comment come through on my studio app on my iPhone, I screenshotted the comment, I hit the report button, reported it to YouTube. Of course, they removed the comment, and then I tried to email it to the FBI. I found an email address, tips@fbi.gov, sent it to that email address. I immediately got back a domain error. Basically, that email address didn't exist. So I looked up the number for our local field office, and I called and I left the message. Well, the next day, I had 2 FBI agents standing in my office, taking down the information, taking copies of the screenshot, and asking me questions that, of course, I couldn't answer. You know, all it was in my channel was a comment. You know, people leave pretty heinous comments on a pretty regular basis on this channel, and I really didn't think anything of it. But what I did think was, this comment said, I'm going to be a professional school shooter, and I knew that I couldn't just ignore that.
In 2017, the FBI received information about a comment made on a YouTube channel. The comment simply said, I'm going to be a professional school shooter. No other information was included with that comment, which would indicate a time, location, or the true identity of the person who made the comment. The FBI conducted database reviews, checks, but was unable to further identify the person who actually made the comment. Again, as a native South Floridian, my heart goes out to the victims, the families, and friends, and the entire community. Thank you.
If I've heard one time in the last 24 hours, I've heard it 1,000. If you see something, say something. Okay, the guy saw something, reported it to the FBI, did all of the right things. And apparently it was widely known in the school that this kid was the kid. And then, of course, we have all the social media fingerprints of this guy, Nicholas Cruz. All the evidence that we needed that this was the guy that would probably do something like this was there. People were speaking out. People knew it. People said it. Now the question is, how did we miss it? Because they missed it. And I'm not blaming any one individual. I go back to what I've been saying all day, that every school in this country, at this point, all of these predictable talking points are meaningless to all of us. The priority, this isn't a gun debate at this point. This is a security debate. And if we want to secure every school in America, there's nobody that's going to be able to convince me we can't do it. It's really a matter of a comprehensive security assessment of every school in the country and then implementing it with retired military and retired police. If we really want to keep our kids safe, they would be the front line of defense. Now, you say, well, okay, well, Sean, they have a security guard at the school. The school had multiple buildings and 3,200 kids. That's not enough security. That's not what I'm talking about. Geraldo Rivera, my friend and colleague from Fox News, joins us, and Jonathan Gillum, former Navy SEAL and Air Marshal and all-around good guy. He's with us as well. Geraldo, a lot of people got pretty pissed off at you on the show last night because you started talking about guns. I don't think the guns are the issue here. I think if we want to secure any building in this country, we have the ability to do it. And let's do it.
The President agreed with his remarks totally in keeping with the spirit of and I just want to remind you, my dear brother, and the audience, that I agreed with you.
You did.
But there are hundreds of AR-15 type military style assault weapons out there. Let's say 1% of the people that own them are freaks. 1%. There's 1% freaks in any group of Boy Scouts, of Marines that you pick a group. There's 1% of crazy people. So there are lots of weapons that can do definitely.
You had 30-some-odd people killed with handguns at another school shooting because the guy had multiple handguns. Ultimately, the only way that argument is going to work, let's say you get rid of AR-15s. All right, then the next shooting's with the guy that has 5 handguns and is quick at reloading them. And then the next shooting is another type of gun.
I don't buy that argument just because I've been around the military too often, and Jonathan far more than me. There's a reason they developed the weapon. It's easy to reload the AR-15. Not just shooting industrial. That's not my thing. I would not have in this business all these decades if I cared about people getting nailed.
Coming from the 8th floor pavilion in the stairwell,
there should be one good guy with a gun at every place where there are school children, and the schools should be as safe as places where we keep our money.
I think it could be made very safe. I mean, if you do a complete, thorough, comprehensive security assessment on every individual school, and then the threat assessment comes back, how many people do you need, retired police, military, that are armed, in each building, surround the perimeter, make sure nobody gets in that building that doesn't belong in that building. We all live in New York. There's not a building in New York you can get into, Jonathan Gillum, that you don't have either an ID to get in for or a pass from somebody that's in the building allowing you out.
That's absolutely right. And I watched the show last night. I wanted to tell her that I appreciate it. I really do this.
I've seen some fake passes. And
he's the real deal. That's why we love him.
And I understand. Here's what I want Geraldo to understand is he's been around the military enough to get there. So a military base, a federal building, you can't just go into those buildings with an AR-15. In fact, if you try to approach those facilities, you're going to probably be shot, or you'll be taken down pretty quick if you show an aggressive move. That's because they have had comprehensive threat assessments. They know the most likely locations that people will enter and exit. We just had it at the NSA earlier this week, where it worked effectively. And ultimately, Columbine was done with it was not done with an AR-15. They had kind of a mock-up semi-automatic weapon and a shotgun. And so it doesn't really matter the style of gun. A mass killing can be done with a knife. What we have to do is start looking at this as Jonathan, as you said on the show yesterday, from a security standpoint. But herein lies the problem with that. As soon as politics get involved, what they start doing is they go overboard with these assessments and they go into high budget areas. When you don't need that, you don't need that at all. Now, I talked about the book that Sean wrote, the Forward 4 that I wrote, Shoot No More, and it teaches people how to think like an attacker and how to do a threat assessment in their life. This can be done by the school administrators, by the staff, and by the parents, by the local law enforcement. You don't need experts to come in. You just determine this is the type of attack that could happen. This is the avenue of approach. And then you get with the fire marshal.
Battalion 1, we're getting updates now that it was somebody in the stair hall that was smoking.
That is where you determine the funnel is that these bad guys can come in, and that's where you go and you get these former, not just necessarily retired, but former law enforcement veterans that can qualify with a weapon and come out there and they can sit a post, and then you will know if anybody approaches, they will not be able to get in that building. That is ultimately the thing that you want to stop. Doesn't matter what the guy.
I'll check here if you want to check over there.
Geraldo, let me go to what Jonathan's point is, and I forget the exact words you used last night. You called it national emergency. I'm not disagreeing, but we look at on television, almost in the immediate aftermath of this, the same predictable talking points. Look, I'm on radio 30 years, Geraldo. I've carried a firearm more than half my adult life, more than half my life. I've been trained in the use of firearms since I'm 11. And you're never going to convince me on the gun side. I'm never going to convince you either. But if we do a comprehensive security threat assessment of every school, and we get the manpower that's necessary, we implement the changes, number one, we minimize the ability of these people to get in, and number two, if it happens, we've got first responders right there on the ground with the capacity to defend. And I think it makes it a whole lot, it changes the entire equation.
We have a program, No Child Left Behind. We should now start a program in the spirit of what you and Jonathan have just been saying, and what the President said in his, I thought, heartfelt remarks. You have a program where individual school districts can apply to a federal grant to secure their school. Now, some schools have more highly evolved security systems. They have budgets. Some schools are, they're lucky if they have textbooks with covers on them. But with this federal grant money, where you're not federalizing the problem particularly, you're not creating a new bureaucracy. But you have a program where any school can, and as Jonathan says, in conjunction with the fire marshal, because you don't want the next tragedy to be the kids in science couldn't get out because the door was chained from the outside to prevent intruders. So there is some level of competition, but you don't need a 300-page, memo on it. Use common sense. I agree with you. Just think of children as our most valuable resource. We always say that. Politicians always BS about that. I just want one quick PS. You know Bernie Carrick, former police commissioner.
I was able to help these students with these vehicles out of the intersection. So we're safe at the intersection here at Staples and Morgan, waiting for units to arrive.
He's concerned about political investigations that the agents aren't following up on and leads that you recited at the top of the segment.
Well, we had Bernie on the program yesterday, and I thought he was amazing. And all right, we'll take a break here. We'll come back. We'll continue more with Geraldo and Jonathan Gilliam. Don't forget Hannity tonight, 9 Eastern, the very latest on this and much more on the Fox News Channel.
3400 Ocean, unreachable plane.
John Hannity.
Hi there, this is Jim Lago, and you're listening to News Radio 1360 KKTX.
So for a few years now, I have been working with Express Employment Professionals, and they've been helping you, my listeners, know where to turn in your job search. Now, Express offers local connections to the good jobs where you live in a variety of industries. So if you're looking for a job, go online, find the nearest Express office at expresspros.com, and let them help you. Now, recently, one Express associate shared this, quote, after applying everywhere for work, I called Express Pros. After going into the office, I had a job that day. Now, when you turn to Express Pros, you benefit from 35 years of experience in putting people to work. They help more than 500,000 people find jobs each and every year, and job seekers at Express Pros never pay a fee whatsoever. Go to expresspros.com, find the location nearest you. And another Express associate said Express called me to come in for an interview right away and then sent me to interview with a company that same day. So don't go it alone any longer in your search for a job. Find your local Express Employment Professionals office at expresspros.com.
Do you have diabetes? Millions of Americans do. And what they don't know is that even if you have diabetes, you can get up to $500,000 of quality life insurance from top-rated companies with no medical exam at great rates. That's right, no medical exam. Call now, 1-800-254-9567, or visit us online at fastlife.life. It's Fast Life, the revolutionary new way to buy life insurance. It's quick, easy, and fast. And there's no medical exam. Call Fast Life today, 1-800-254-9567, or visit us online at fastlife.life. No matter what your health or wealth, protecting the people you love is important. And for millions of people with diabetes, it's the #1 reason for purchasing life insurance. Call now, 1-800-254-9567, or visit fastlife.life for your free, no-obligation quote. Call Fast Life, 1-800-254-9567, or visit us online at fastlife.life.
We're code 1 to your facility with a 1-year-old female patient. Patient complaining of nausea, vomiting, diarrhea for about 10 days already. Says that has stopped. Patient vitals are as follows.
We believe in our flag.
Blood pressure is 134/81. Sheer pulse is at 111. She's setting at 91% on Romero. Respiration at 16 with a finger stick of 130. We do have an IV established. We do have a nasal cannula. Giving her 100% O2. ETA to her facility. And we also gave her some Zofran, 4 milligrams. ETA to her facility about 5 minutes.
Find us marching down main streets in small towns and big cities all across America, showing our support and pride for our veterans and their families. Go to Legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
If you think you've got it rough where you work, just imagine what it would be like if people were constantly speeding through your workplace, and you were only a few feet away from cars, 18-wheelers, and way too many drivers on their cell phones. That's what it's like for workers assisting the driving public along the state's streets and highways. Here's TxDOT's John Baldwin.
The state law that protects first responders and tow truck drivers now extends protection to TxDOT roadside workers too. It's called the Move Over Law, and here's what it means. If you see flashing blue or amber lights on a TxDOT vehicle that's stopped on the roadside or shoulder, you have two choices. You can either change lanes and move out of the lane closest to the vehicle, or slow down to 20 miles an hour below the posted speed limit if the road either doesn't have multiple lanes or it's not possible for you to move over. If the speed limit is 25 miles an hour or less, you simply have to slow down to 10 miles per hour.
If you don't move over or slow down, you can be ticketed and receive a hefty fine. Be safe, play smart, and give road workers some space.
Texas is many things. It's the land of slow-cooked barbecue and the best breakfast tacos you'll ever have. It's home to towering skyscrapers and family-owned farms. But one thing Texas is not is a trash can. Yet every year in Texas, nearly 500 million pieces of trash are tossed along our state roadways. It's as if every man, woman, and child in Texas dropped about 25 pieces of litter on our highways. And this littering is costing us. In fact, the bill for picking up litter on roadways every year costs taxpayers millions of dollars. But littering can have even higher costs. Cigarette butts, which make up over 40% of the trash found on Texas roads, are not only ugly, but a lit cigarette butt could start a fire and cause a lot of damage, especially in the dry Texas summer. Texas isn't an ashtray or a trash can. So what do you say we keep it that way? For more information, visit don'tmesswithtexas.org. This message brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
As we continue, Geraldo Rivera and Jonathan Gilliam are with us. Look, there's a way to do this. I'll tell you one way not to do it, though, and that is if we do it the way that we've been doing. Same predictable arguments, they go by the wayside, nothing happens. No, I just think...
I know you say that, but I don't know why our nation needs... Why do we need 1 million AR-15s? I mean, I remember, I've been in gun stores. I love guns. Guns, they either... Whether you're a hunter or you think you're Lawrence of Arabia, whatever it is. But I bet you many of the people who own AR-15 type weapons own them because they think they have lack of faith in the central government, the black helicopters coming to pick your weapons, the Second Amendment's going to be erased. A lot of it is paranoia. And I just...
How would you call it paranoia? How do you call it paranoia? Just look at this. Hang on, just look at... I've owned AR-15s. A lot of times, nobody even knows what an AR-15 means. The difference between an AR-15 and another rifle is often just cosmetic. It's just words to most people. And I'm telling you that just look at the average weekend statistics of carnage in Chicago. Are you telling me we've cleaned up New York under Rudy Giuliani? We couldn't clean up Chicago, and if we put our minds to it, I believe we could. And I don't think...
you're right. You're not going to solve it.
It's not. Listen, 30 years in radio. I'm not going to change anybody's mind. And I'm not going to change your mind. I'm not going to change mine. I believe in the Constitution, the Second Amendment, and because some people abuse their freedoms should not impact the right of other people's freedoms, in my opinion. And it's also a very evil, dangerous world. And I always ask everybody, well, what are you going to do if somebody breaks into your house? I know what you're going to do, Geraldo. You're going to grab a gun.
I'm going to grab a shotgun, which I have, which is far more intimidating. But the only thing, here's my last...
You better hope there's fewer than 2 people there.
It's the Rossi Overland 2-shot. If you take 2 shots, Bronco will tell you then you're screwed up. But I want getting a powerful weapon like that to be at least as hard as getting a commercial driver's license for a semi-truck. If you can buy and sell cars, and apparently he had them all lined up out there by the street curb. That's how hard it is to get a powerful weapon.
All our doors or any damages to the window? Geraldo wants it. You want a gun?
The only forced entry was on one American Navigator. They busted out the driver's window. The other, I think these guys are using a Slim Jim.
We have to look at reality. We're not going to get rid of the guns.
Up and down, all the vehicles were locked.
There will always be bad guys with guns, always. And so it's best if we start asking the right questions, if we start looking at security, and if we can eliminate the people that get into the schools, there won't be these mass shootings, and then we can have a discussion later on, and you'll see that the reality about these weapons is that there's very few people that have
yours on launch or damage
get into places where they can do a lot of harm.
Thank you both for being with us. 800-941-SEAN is our toll-free telephone number. The President's very touching comments. Some of the other sounds much more coming up in our next half hour. I want to remind you, though, the swamp, the deep state, are very, very deep. You see it now happening as we continue our coverage of, Rosenstein and Strzok and Page and Mueller and Comey and Redolins and others. Listen, we have the constitutional power to change this country, and we're exposing unconstitutional behavior every single day. We can take it back. We have the power. It's in the Constitution itself. That's the solution. And we have the power to call a convention of states. And at that convention, we can restrain the size, the scope, the influence, the power, the jurisdiction of the federal government. Imagine things like term limits being passed, a balanced budget, getting the federal government out of education, the environment, health care. All of this can be done. It's being done, and the Convention of States project will get it done. So join me, my friend Mark Meckler, and many of my friends, your friends, just go to conventionofstates.com. We're asking a petition, asking your state legislature to support this resolution. Look, if you're all serious about saving the country, please get involved today. We need your help. conventionofstates.com.
Number one at 4900 block of Cedar Pass the night before, but the guy left before I got there. On 4900 block of Cedar Pass.
February 24th on the Victory Island National Seashore. Mission to the park is free for volunteers. Join us in the Malachite Pavilion parking lot no later than 8 a.m. With four-wheel drive vehicles and trailers are especially needed. If you don't have a 4x4, we'll do our best to get you there. Lunch will be provided, and we'll have commemorative t-shirts for the volunteers while supplies last. For more information, visit friendsofpadre.com.
So the
Fox News Radio on Caribou 2. Nicholas Cruz has confessed to police for Wednesday's mass murder in a Broward County, Florida high school. He has been charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. The FBI is responding to reports, and it responded to an online clip about the shooter.
I requested for traffic unit, maybe they had traffic cones, but then a major came in and
location
told him to go ahead and reroute to the major.
About the person who posted the
Special Agent Roger Alaska. Meanwhile, a grandmother in Washington State's credited for preventing another high school shooting.
McCott said the suspect never gave him any impression that he intended to carry out a plan to attack his classmates at Aces High School. The alleged plan was never on the radar of teachers, students, or school staff either, until police said the suspect's grandmother read his journal and called 911.
Steve Kittens of Fox affiliate KCPQ. Fox News, we report, we decide.
iHeartRadio. Sports News Update.
In some baseball news, Mason's Rock Kabuto reports that the Orioles have signed free agent starter Andrew Cashner to a 2-year, $16 million contract. According to a release from the Indians, Danny Salazar experienced an onset of right shoulder rotator cuff inflammation in mid-January. Salazar has resumed throwing and is progressing well, according to the same media update, but the 28-year-old right-hander is also a couple weeks behind. Ryan Hill of the Oakland Athletics underwent surgery Thursday to remove a bone spur from his right hand and will be sidelined for 6 weeks. In football, Larry Fitzgerald told Cardinals coach Steve Wilkes he will return for the 2018 season. And Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert told impending free agent Le'Veon Bell that the organization has a strong desire to keep him in Pittsburgh for the rest of his career. I'm Dan Stratford, and this has been your Fantasy Sports Radio Network News Update.
Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Keyword fantasy on your iHeartRadio.
In some baseball news, Mason's Rock Kabuto reports that the Orioles have signed free agent starter Andrew Cashner to a 2-year, $16 million contract. According to a release from the Indians, Danny Salazar experienced an onset of right shoulder rotator cuff inflammation in mid-January. Salazar has resumed throwing and is progressing well, according to the same media update, but the 28-year-old right-hander is also a couple weeks behind. Ryan Healy of the Oakland Athletics underwent surgery Thursday to remove a bone spur from his right hand and will be sidelined 4 to 6 weeks. In football, Larry Fitzgerald told Cardinals coach Steve Wilkes he will return for the 2018 season. And Phillies general manager Kevin Colbert told impending free agent Le'Veon Bell that the organization has a strong desire to keep him in Pittsburgh for the rest of his career. I'm Dan Stratford, and this has been your Fantasy Sports Radio Network News Update.
Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Keyword fantasy on your iHeart app.
I want to tell you about a time in American history so it never repeats itself.
It was a harrowing time.
I could hear my mother warn me, don't go out and play.
My family was ravaged. Thousands and thousands died.
I was scared.
So scared. And then one day, before vaccines, there were few ways to help protect against deadly illnesses. Diseases like measles,
Meningitis,
diphtheria, whooping cough, or polio. Without vaccines, these threats can be immense. I'm here to tell my children to help protect their children. Get your kids vaccinated and keep them on schedule.
I never want my grandchildren to see
A public health message from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The support provided by Sanofi Pasteur. Visit protecttomorrow.org. Remember, vaccinate.
Now, this week's top TV stream.
Here's what you've been watching on TV this week. Lisa Rinna and the gals have no shortage of issues on the petty mess episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's at number 5. Next at number 4, they're gladiators in suits in the latest episode of Scandal. RuPaul's Drag Race is in its 3rd season, and their latest is your 3rd most streamed episode. At number 2, they're recounting the assassination of Gianni Versace on American Crime Story. And finally, ABC's medical drama Grey's Anatomy is your number 1 TV stream this week.
That's this week's top TV stream.
Lawrence Henry, Frank X-Ray, 72 Julie.
4822 Marion Circle, contact Jose Cabrera.
Sean Hannity talks to the people involved in the top stories of the day. Every day. Sean Hannity is on.
But as I promised earlier, the president gave an address, unbelievable, emotional, and passionate address at the White House today. We also have witness accounts and Sheriff Israel of Broward County and a lot of the sounds from this attack, and we put this together for you. This can be solved, this problem. Help us solve the problem.
I'm getting to the... Oh my God!
Company weapon, 5714 Flynn Parkway, 57 Northwest Flynn Parkway, contact Mr. Dell, wanting to turn down pistol and ammunition.
Fire is being notified.
Yeah, does he know where the shooter is? We don't know, but we're entering the building, in front of the 13 building 13. 17 Kilo 4, myself, energy.
That's 1 on 48. 48. He's detained.
Liz detained.
Okay, sir. Can you head over to Brownie and Street? I have a 911 advising there's a gentleman on his unit threatening him. I'll get you some more description.
Uniform 15134. 120. Golf 470 traffic. 507, I'm on scene with Nicholas Cruz. One on white male, last name Real, first name Miguel. Line 21, update 0.
And then right after, there was dead bodies everywhere. There were 2 there, and walking and talking about a project and fire alarm goes for the second time in the same day, which is weird. So we all just go out to the field like we're supposed to, and then I hear like gunshots. Like you can tell, like it's definitely gunshots.
Usually whenever a fire alarm goes off, it's usually just like culinary and accident or nothing, but it was really odd to have 2 fire alarms in one day.
It was the end of the school day, and the fire alarm went off, and we went to evacuate, as if it was a fire drill, and then we got maybe 15, 20 steps out of the classroom, and we were told that we were on cold meds. We ran back inside to the classroom, and stuff down on the floor, and then we moved into the closet. A friend of mine teaches on in the freshman building, and she said that as she was leaving that there were bodies on the floor. So I don't know who it is, and I don't know why, but this is the type of situation that we just had a training about this, not maybe like 6 weeks ago about how to deal with this situation. If we haven't had that training, it could have been, a lot worse. A lot of us probably thought that this was the drill that we were supposed to have, this semester to practice. And it wasn't. It was a real. I managed to put 19 kids in the closet with me. Less than a minute.
Less than a minute, and then you were cleared pretty quickly.
No, we were in the closet for probably 40 minutes.
Oh, 40 minutes.
We were locked in the closet until SWAT came and got us. and took us somewhere else, and then took us somewhere else. Now we're, standing out on the street, and kids are, finding their parents.
Wow, that certainly paints a picture. So you just heard an interview with a teacher who said that they just trained for this 6 weeks ago when this mass shooting happened a few hours ago. She said she put numerous students in a closet and waited there for 40 minutes.
For like 36 minutes, we were praying and crying and...
I'm headed that way now. I'm going to prioritize. I'm praying to God thinking that He could save us all from that. We could make it up.
I told my parents and it was just all crazy, and all you could think about is, oh my God, my family, my friends, everything. We never think it would happen to you, but it does. Kids were freaking out. Some kids froze, some kids were on their phones. A lot were on their phones just trying to Snapchat everything. There's kids freaking out, students freaking out, teachers. I was sitting in class with one employee of the building, and all we heard was gunshots. There were 15 rounds shoot the ceiling. We all dove to the left side where the windows were. Our teacher told us to get to the side closest to the door, so we all ran behind the desk. The shooter, good thing the door was locked. The shooter shot through the door, poked in, shot a couple people next to me. I was sitting right behind the cabinet, and the bullet passed my ear, got a girl next to me. We couldn't help anybody, and we had to stay quiet.
Megan Hill, thank you for taking the time to join us. You're a junior, as I understand it. You're in a room. This door is locked. This guy's shooting. Take it from there. What happened from there, Megan?
As the shooter was in the hallway, I'm not sure if I was the first room. He shot through the glass window, did not open our doors, and he turned the gun towards the side of the wall where the students were sitting. He shot 4 people. 1 was dead. There are 3 other injured. A girl was shot in her wrist. A bullet clipped the top of her kneecap. I was told to stay calm. All I wanted to do was help, but I knew I put everybody else's life in jeopardy. After 10 minutes, I finally couldn't stand anymore. I took off my jean jacket. I threw it over the desk and had someone try to help the girl in front of me. I'm not sure if he was holding that jean jacket, but I tried my hardest. Everyone was trying to stay calm. I finally got a hold of my sister, Mackenzie. She was in the second floor bathroom, got into the door safely, and the teacher, they're not allowed to open the door for a policy on code red, but he luckily did, and he saved her. She was put into a room and survived, and it was very traumatizing. We were told to leave the building. They told us to run out left, to just put heads down and run straight to Pine Island. There were bodies on the floor.
We had a deputy sheriff. His son was shot tonight, shot in the arm. He's at one of the local area hospitals. I'm being told he's being treated with non-life-threatening injuries, thank God. If you are on a website and you know something, or you see something, you see a person with rifles and weaponry, and you see something that's not right, you owe it to your family, you owe it to your community, you owe it to law enforcement to make this a safer nation by calling up someone tonight. Call up the FBI, call up the Broward Sheriff's Office, call up someone tonight and let them know if you have information that something's not right. You can prevent a major tragedy like this devastation that happened in Parkland.
Yesterday,
a school
filled with innocent children and caring teachers became the scene of terrible violence, hatred, and evil. Around 2:30 yesterday afternoon, police responded to reports of gunfire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. A great and safe community. There, a shooter, who is now in custody, opened fire on defenseless students and teachers. He murdered 17 people and badly wounded at least 14 others. Our entire nation, with one heavy heart, is praying for the victims and their families. To every parent, teacher, and child who is hurting so badly, we are here for you, whatever you need.
whatever we can do to ease your pain. We are all joined together as one American family, and your suffering is our burden also. No child, no teacher should ever be in danger in an American school. No parent should ever have to fear for their sons and daughters when they kiss them goodbye in the morning. Each person who was stolen from us yesterday had a full life ahead of them, a life filled with wondrous beauty and unlimited potential and promise. Each one had dreams to pursue, love to give, and talents to share with the world. And each one had a family to whom they meant everything in the world. Today we mourn for all of those who lost their lives. We comfort the grieving and the wounded. And we hope for the entire community of Parkland, Florida, that is now in shock and pain and searching for answers. To law enforcement, first responders, and teachers who responded so bravely in the face of danger, we thank you for your courage. Soon after the shooting, I spoke with Governor Scott to convey our deepest sympathies to the people of Florida and our determination to assist in any way that we can. I also spoke with Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi and Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel. I'm making plans to visit Parkland, to meet with families and local officials, and to continue coordinating the federal response. In these moments of heartache and darkness, we hold on to God's word in Scripture. I have heard your prayer and seen your tears. I will heal you. We trust in that promise, and we hold fast to our fellow Americans in their time of sorrow. I want to speak now directly to America's children, especially those who feel lost, alone, confused, or even scared. I want you to know that you are never alone, and you never will be. You have people who care about you, who love you, and who will do anything at all to protect you. If you need help, turn to a teacher, a family member, a local police officer, or a faith leader. Answer hate with love, answer cruelty with kindness. We must also work together to create a culture in our country that embraces the dignity of life, that creates deep and meaningful human connections, and that turns classmates and colleagues into friends and neighbors. Our administration is working closely with local authorities to investigate the shooting and learn everything we can. We are committed to working with state and local leaders to help secure our schools and tackle the difficult issue of mental health. Later this month, I will be meeting with the nation's governors and attorney generals who are making our schools and our children safer will be our top priority. It is not enough to simply take actions that make us feel like we are making a difference. We must actually make that difference. In times of tragedy, the bonds that sustain us are those of family, faith, community, and country. These bonds are stronger than the forces of hatred and evil, and these bonds grow even stronger in the hours of our greatest need. And so always, but especially today, let us hold our loved ones close. Let us pray for healing and for peace. And let us come together as one nation to wipe away the tears and strive for a much better tomorrow. Thank you. and God bless you all. Thank you very much.
You know, what we're saying here is, you hear that. I think this has to be and can be the last time this happens. You know, think of where you were yesterday at whatever time, and you turn on your television set, and there you see the seemingly endless line of kids coming out of a school. No, some of them having witnessed some bodies on the ground, some not alive, and lives shattered, and some losing their friends, some just losing people that were in the school, were shooting in the school. And then you think of the 17 families now that have spent the day with a coroner, probably a funeral director, and now have to deal with the loss of a child. And you think of how do we stop that without the predictable, same old talking points debate to get nothing done? Anyway, we'll have more on this tonight. We hope you'll join us. Full coverage of all of this. The latest 9 Eastern on Hannity and the Fox News Channel. And I've been reminding everybody, too, about the dangers of identity theft and why LifeLock is so important. LifeLock identity theft protection. And now we're at the point where 1 in 4 people have experienced some identity theft. You protect your good name, your reputation. You protect your credit card, your bank account, your retirement account. And LifeLock can detect the threats to your identity that many Americans just monitor your credit. Christian writes, he's a sound engineer, and he writes, I joined LifeLock from my perspective. I know my information's out there. I don't like it, but it's the reality of the situation. Anyway, so he made the decision to join LifeLock in 2014, and it proved to be a wonderful investment for him, because after receiving an alert from LifeLock, well, Christian learned that he had 5 cell phone accounts and a department store credit card opened in his name. He says, when I called LifeLock, they said, sit back, relax. They were going to handle all of it, and they did. And now he says he's a member for life. Look, bottom line is, you don't have to deal with identity theft on your own. Protect your good name, your credit card, your reputation, your bank account, retirement account. Go to LifeLock.com or call 1-800-LifeLock. And if you use the promo code Hannity, you'll save 10% off your LifeLock membership. 1-800-LifeLock, LifeLock.com, promo code Hannity. All right, quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up. Hannity tonight, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel.
Contact with unit 909, sir. The wife is there. He's about 37. He's outbound. He's been caught by 918, sir.
One thing we've always known about Hannity, he stands up for what he believes in and what you believe in. Follow Hannity as he fights the left, who are trying to extinguish conservative voices. Sean Hannity.
Sean Hannity, a great American, on News Radio 1360 KKTX.
Tom, Edward, Robert.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I have the best New Year's resolution, especially for all of you smokers out there, and it's called Enjoy. They're e-cigs. Doug Teitelbaum, the CEO of Enjoy, he's a former smoker. He tried to quit many, many times, and then he finally came across a simple alternative, switching to electronic cigarettes. Now it's easy because Enjoy has a super special offer only for you, my listeners. If you go to enjoyhannity.com right now, you're going to get $151 worth of different strengths, different styles of e-cigarettes, and it's only $19.99. The Enjoy Switch Kit lets you experiment until you find the product that works for you. Now, my parents smoked almost their entire lives. I wish they could have made the switch to Enjoy, especially my mom, because it would have helped her. Just go to enjoyhannity.com. That's the letter N, J-O-Y, Hannity.com, and then enter promo code Hannity for this amazing deal. With over $150 of Enjoy's best e-cigs and vape for a limited time being sold for under $20. Enjoy the switch.
Each year, more than 3 million athletes suffer a sports-related brain injury known as concussion. Sometimes the effects can be serious, especially if they return to play too soon, before it's safe, or have multiple concussions. According to the American Academy of Neurology, any athlete who is suspected of having a concussion should be removed from play until evaluated by a doctor who has training in sports concussion. This is for all athletes and all levels. Whether it's a major hit during a hockey game or a knockout on the youth football field, the American Academy of Neurology wants you to know that it is critical that coaches, trainers, and even parents know the signs of concussion and do not allow an athlete to return to play until evaluated by a doctor with special training in concussion. Play it safe. Protect your brain from concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology. Learn more at AAN.
1-800-222-1222. 1-800-222-1222. If you think it might be poison, then the first thing you should do is call 1-800-222-1222. Poison can be anything you're not supposed to take. Antifreeze, pesticide, the wrong drug by mistake. If you breathe the nasty chemical written by a snake, call the Poison Control Center hotline.
Go ahead and cancel every already. Both are out of the vehicle.
Poison or drug emergency at home or at work, just call the Poison Control Center hotline. We're here 24/7 with the expert help you need, free and confidential. Even if you think it's a false alarm, call
1-800-222-1222. 1-800-222-1222. If you think it might be poison, you don't know what to do. 1-800-222-1222.
Marriage makes me think of sports. You know, teamwork, dedication.
Okay, let's see what people say.
Let's say your marriage is a sport. What sport would it be?
Oh, what sport?
Basketball.
Surfing. Because we've been riding the wave for so long.
You have to be a team sport.
Ice hockey.
Baseball, it lasts a long time and not a lot happens.
Ping pong.
So why ping pong?
Always on our toes. But relaxing fun. Maybe doubles tennis.
So there's a lot of back and forth.
A lot of people watching.
So how many people are influenced by your marriage?
Hundreds?
Yeah. I think we could easily fill a football stadium with all the people that we've influenced. And you really think about the ripple effect.
One influences the next and the next and the next. It's like a wave.
So it looks like a good marriage touches a lot of people.
Exactly. A good marriage goes a long way.
Want to improve your marriage? For ideas, go to foryourmarriage.org. A message from the Catholic Church.
In Texas, there are more than 1,700 high-hazard potential dams that would put lives at risk if they were to breach or overflow. Yet hundreds of these dams still do not have emergency action plans in place. New state dam regulations require all high-hazard potential dams to have an action plan. A breach of some dams could flood hundreds of homes and businesses, and lives could be lost. An emergency action plan for high-hazard potential dams is essential for your safety and your community. Know where the water will go. If you live, work, or frequently travel through an area near or below a dam, find out if there is an emergency action plan for that dam, and make sure emergency managers know how to contact you in the event of a breach. You can have a stake in saving lives by seeing that emergency action plans are in place for these high-hazard dams. For more information, visit damsafetyaction.org or call 877-410-3551. A public service message on behalf of FEMA.
27 basis. Abraham Magora, is he on my paper manifesto? It shows to be picked up, but do I not?
All right, that's going to wrap things up for today. We'll have the latest on the shooting that took place yesterday. 17 dead. Unbelievable. And, of course, we'll have the very latest on Memo-Gate, Pfizer-Gate, and everything else. Sarah Carter, much more. Full coverage tonight. We hope you'll join us. Set your DVR. Hannity, 9 Eastern on the Fox News Channel. Many prayers to the community down in Florida. Our thoughts and prayers with Parkland and all these families and what they're going through. It's so tough for them. Thanks for being with us. See you tonight. Back here tomorrow.
I need somebody to go pick up this RTA guy. Once I do security ready to go. 1-345-1700. I'm going to start calling them out.
I'm Jay Farner from Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.375%. APR 4.62%. But choosing the right mortgage lender means choosing much more than just a rate. Let me ask you, does calling the company with the best client service in America, with 12 J.D. Power Awards to prove it, matter? Does calling the company that invented Rocket Mortgage, the industry's most innovative, client-focused technology, matter? Does calling the company with 17,000-plus team members who are helping to rebuild the great cities of Detroit and Cleveland matter? Of course it matters. No wonder our clients have made Quicken Loans America's #1 online lender. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com for the best mortgage experience on earth. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Adam X-ray 52609.
On today's Texas Clean Air Minute, keeping the air we breathe breathable. All of us need air to breathe. The air that keeps us alive is vulnerable to pollution, and so are we. In Texas, 9 areas are classified as non-attainment or near non-attainment areas. That means the air quality in these areas does not meet or is close to not meeting federal clean air standards. Without intervention, the number of areas not up to standard will likely increase. You can do your part to help keep the air clean by maintaining your vehicle so that it emits fewer ozone-causing chemicals. Drive less by combining your errands, sharing rides, or taking public transportation. Avoid sitting idle in drive-thru lanes. Drive the speed limit. And if you're in the market to buy a new car or truck, purchase a low-emissions model or a hybrid. For more tips on reducing air pollution, visit drivecleanacrosstexas.org. The Texas Department of Transportation and the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality remind you to drive clean across Texas.
News radio across America, around the world. It's the news you trust. From America's news leader, live at the top of the hour. Get the Fox News update. You can hear the difference. The latest news, the best tech. 24/7. News Radio 1360 KKPX.
A timeline for the shooting. I'm Lisa Rosanna, Fox News. Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel says the suspected gunman, Nicholas Cruz, took an Uber to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland yesterday afternoon.
21 hours and 33 seconds, the suspect readied his rifle and began shooting into rooms 1215, 1216, 1214.
Cruz apparently slipped out of the school with fleeing students, stopping at a nearby Walmart and McDonald's.
At 3:41 p.m., 40 minutes after he departed from the McDonald's, the suspect was detained at 4700 Wyndham Lakes Drive in Coral Springs by an officer from the Coconut Creek Police Department. He was taken into custody without incident.
Cruz is a former student at the school. He's charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder, is being held without bond. The White House saying President Trump will visit Parkland, Florida to meet with families and local officials in the coming days. He's scheduled to spend the weekend at his home in Palm Beach, about an hour away from Parkland. Immigration reform hits roadblocks in the Senate. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The 4 amendments were considered, all 4 failing to hit 60 votes needed to advance.
There's only one reason why the Senate will be unable to reach a bipartisan solution to DACA. President Trump.
The Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer blaming the president for torpedoing bipartisan plans drafted by several Republicans and Democrats designed to boost border security funding by $25 billion. Provide a path to citizenship for nearly 2 million dreamers living in the country illegally since childhood. Instead, the White House backed a plan based on President Trump's legislative framework that won just 39 yes votes. Lisa.
Jared, Wall Street at the close. The Dow at 306, the NASDAQ in 112, the S&P plus 32. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Now, it's the Weekend Box Office Review.
New releases burst onto the scene, taking the top 3 spots over the weekend, starting with 50 Shades Freed, which debuted at $38 million. While in line with expectations, it was about $8 million less than last year's 50 Shades Darker, and with a B-plus cinema score from opening day audiences, it's looking like it'll finish its run with about $95 million in the U.S. Kicking off its run in second place was Peter Rabbit with a tune of $25 million. That was actually a bit higher than expected. The lack of new animated movies plus a strong A- cinema score seems to point to a final tally close to $100 million, or double its estimated budget. Premiering in third place, the 1517 to Paris came in below expectations with $12 million. It only managed to be minus cinema score from audiences, though with an estimated budget of just $30 million, it has a strong chance at turning a profit. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, slipped back to number 4, adding $9 million over the weekend, for a total of $365 million so far. And The Greatest Showman clocked in 5th place with $6.4 million, to give it $146 million overall. And that's your weekend box office review on iHeartRadio.
Now, your iHeartRadio new release rundown.
The Kendrick Lamar-curated soundtrack for the film Black Panther is out, with all the stars. Lamar's collaboration with SZA, cracking the top 20 on the hip-hop and rhythmic charts. Always Ascending is the fifth studio album from Scottish rock quintet Franz Ferdinand, and the first to feature new members Dino Bardot and Julian Corey. Already reaching number 25 on the alternative chart is the title single.
4001 Wildcat Drive,
And 5 years after their previous album, indie rockers MGMT are back with Little Dark Age, their fourth studio album, now available in stores and online. The title track has been climbing the rock and alternative charts.
That's this week's iHeartRadio New Release Rundown. Now, it's the Weekend Box Office Review.
3 new releases burst onto the scene, taking the top 3 spots over the weekend, starting with 50 Shades Freed, which debuted at $38 million. While in line with expectations, it was about $8 million less than last year's 50 Shades Darker, and with a B+ cinema score from opening day audiences, it's looking like it'll finish its run with about $95 million in the U.S. Kicking off its run in second place was Peter Rabbit to the tune of $25 million. That was actually a bit higher than expected, and the lack of new animated movies plus a strong A- cinema score seems to point to a final tally close to $100 million, or double its estimated budget. Premiering in third place, the 1517 to Paris came in below expectations with $12 million. It only managed a B- cinema score from audiences, though with an estimated budget of just $30 million, it has a strong chance at turning a profit. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle slipped back to number 4, adding $9 million over the weekend, for a total of $365 million so far. And The Greatest Showman clocked in fifth place with $6.4 million, to give it $146 million overall. And that's your weekend box office review on iHeartRadio.
You're down to 27% of the American population paying the lion's share, 90% of all of the taxes.
The Glenn Beck Program.
Nobody's being taught to think anymore.
Weekdays 9 to 11 on News Radio 1360 KKPX.
This is the Joe Pag Show. To talk to Joe, call 800-383-9624 or go to joepags.com. And now, it's Joe Pags.
Hey, great radio stations across the land, iHeartRadio, joepags.com, also Newsmax TV, The Joe Pags Show. Glad to be coming your way, either on your radio, in your living room, on your computer, on your device, on a
bill. Honestly, the president didn't campaign on, Jim Jordan and I didn't campaign on, and I'm pleased to hear that the White House is offering a pay threat. If that happens, bravo, I applaud the president for doing that, but I can tell you that we need to put the bill out of the House, let that and if we do that, I think that we'll get
Okay, what about there are a lot of people. We always the spending increase, and we never get the spending cuts. That's always 10 years down the line, and it never happens. You always get the amnesty going back to 86, 96, 2006. You always get some type of concession for people that didn't respect our laws and sovereignty, but you never end up getting the walls built and the border secure. How do we ensure that, regardless of how this all turns out, that wall gets built? I think, number one, it's good for the country, and it makes sense for the country, and number two, it's good police. The first time we had done what we said we were going to do.
Yeah, Sean, you're exactly right. The American people are not going to tolerate that once again. They won't buy that whole line. Oh, we'll do the amnesty now, but we promise we'll eventually get to border security. That is not going to fly. And the person they trust on this issue is the President of the United States. So that's good legislation, Sean, because it does it in the prioritizing way that the American people know it has to get done, and the way you've talked about it getting done, which is border security wall first, in-chain migration, get rid of this crazy sanctuary cities policy, deal with case laws, get rid of the visa lottery, all this, that legislation has like 22 different key policy areas The first 21 are everything that is common sense and the American people spoke loudly and clearly about. And then the last one says, and oh, by the way, we're also going to address the DACA situation. That's done in a prioritizing fashion and manner that is consistent with what we were elected to do. So that's why Mark and I, for the last several weeks, we've been pushing the Goodbye legislation. We tried to ramp up to talk about that because that's the one that we need to get done. And as Mark said,
where's the leadership on this one? Where is Paul Ryan?
They finally whipped it. But let's hope they put the full strength of the leadership behind the whip and start persuading people this is the right thing to put down first because it's consistent with the American people to believe.
Why would you let Susan Collins and a board with Senator Flake go through with only Democrats and say somehow this is what we're going to pass on? Their plan is, okay, they're going to pass DACA, they're going to provide $25 billion, they say, for border security, but we'll only give you $2.5 billion. This is over 10 years. That sounds to me like John McCain's proposal. Let's study it in the year 2020. Well, that's just a way of punching the road like they always do. It's the same old rocky swamp.
Well, it is the same old swamp, and if you want to make sure that the Republican Party is in the minority come this November in the House, and that we lose seats in the Senate, let's just continue down that road. Jim Gordon says it best. He says it never hurts to do what you promised the American people you would do. We said that we were going to be tough immigration, making sure that we have a secure border, making sure sanctuary cities and the like are dealt with. And if we don't do that, people are going to either show up or not show up in November, but it will not be good news for anybody in our party. And so that's why we've got to address this and make sure that we actually build a law, that we don't talk about it, that we actually make sure that we address this and don't provide amnesty without fixing the root cause of the problem.
I'm looking at, and this was an article on one of the blogs I saw earlier today, that if you look at the latest numbers, that Republicans